oftentimes people will say a thing, um, you know, and we don't understand where those things come from. So oftentimes I'll say to clients, "Is that your ancestor speaking?" Like I had a client one time that said to me, "These people want to be in my business, asking me all these questions." And I said, "Well, how do you know?" And they said, "Well, they asked me." And I said, "Well, could it be that they're just getting to know it? I just know they're being nosy." And I said, "Is that your ancestor speaking?" And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "There was a time when that may have served your ancestors well to keep silent, because talking may have been detrimental to their health, may have even been detrimental to their lives if they shared what they had in their homes or the things that they had." I said, "But, this is a new day. And so I'm not suggesting that you do that. But what I am suggesting that you do is to think about, where does that narrative come from and how is it serving you? And then my next question is, like, what do you want to do about it?" So if that's how, if that's what it is, that's what it is. And that's okay. But understand the root of that and where all of that comes from, to then figure out if you want to tell yourself a different narrative and show up a little bit differently.
That's so important. I want our audience to really think about that and visualize what you're saying. And I'm going to take this back. We're in the Black Business Network, and we're talking about Black entrepreneurism. Maybe there's my ism, right? And what I'm saying is this, is that specifically in the South, it was a law. Some people don't realize this. It was a law that if more, I think it was either 5 or 10 Black men came together on a city street, preferably like downtown, because that's what downtown a lot of it. If they came together and congregated, they would be arrested.
That's right.
Right. And this is how, this is the center of business. This is how businesses form, relationships, networks, how we get things done. So it was a law that if people came together, especially invisibly in public, that they would be arrested. This is a narrative. This was a fact of the law.
Yeah.
But remember, that was your grandfather's experience that gets handed down. So when we start to think about why certain groups of people, especially like Black people, Black Americans, always kind of like go individually instead of as a team, as a culture, some of that narrative may have come from the past. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. There are so many things and ways that we show up and we don't even realize that has been told to us. I'll say this and then I got to find I thought my thing was powered up, but it's not. The whole notion of lean in. So there was a lot of leaning in and leaning in. And it's difficult, again, that same narrative for me to lean in when I can hear my grandmother in Lake City, Florida, again saying, "Don't tell the people your business. Don't tell the people How can I lean in when I am listening to what she has said to me? How can I lean in when, I can remember interviewing for a position and there were rumblings that they needed someone Black. They didn't have a Black regional director. And so if the story that I'm telling myself is, they're only hiring me, or they're only not hiring, they're only bringing me in for this interview because they need a Black female, that's a narrative that's going to show up when I'm sitting there in that interview. Can't help but show up. Yeah.
Man, see, now we're getting into some real discussion. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it, right?
Let's talk about it.
It's unpacking your inner self, but unpacking, and I've seen this narrative play out over the last year or more and more. And then we're starting, like, I love what Dr. Kelly's done around getting this network going, because the narrative that I saw, and I really was getting upset about it. Every night I turn on the news to get what happened in the community. Every single night, there's a narrative around a young Black man in trouble.
Yes.
Every night.
Yes.
And he said, well, maybe that's only in Miami. That's where I live. No, every city I travel to, every single night. So you're going to tell me we are 15, 16% of the population, but we are 99% of the criminality that's happening in this country that you want to report on every single night? Mm-hmm. Really? So this is the narrative. So when you work with somebody, you have this narrative. someone else does, and then you're going into the workplace, and all these things accumulate. And then when we get things like George Floyd and what happened, and then if you work from home, maybe it's not as bad. But think about it, you go to an office
That's
and you're
right.
surrounded by all kinds of different people, and here you are, you have to represent not only yourself, but your entire culture. How about that?
So let me ask you this about that representation, because that is again is a narrative that we tell ourselves. If I don't show up, or if I not show up, if I don't perform, that's ruining for everybody behind me. And I actually said to an employer one time, because I was the only, and I asked them the question. I said, I know I'm the only person here. What do you think about that? And they pretty much didn't think much about it. And I said, if I don't make it, if I'm not successful, would that hinder you from hiring somebody else that looked like me? They
Mm.
kind of thought about it, and I asked them, I said, please don't let it. Please don't let it, because I am an individual and that's a lot of pressure for me in this role, to have the pressure of being new as a leader and also have the pressure of knowing that if I don't make it, that you will not hire anybody else that looks like me. So just promise me that. You don't have to promise me anything else, but promise me that. And they were shocked a bit and said, okay. And in that moment, whether they made good on it or not, I could breathe. I could be Renika and show up and do the things
Mm.
that I needed to do, versus having the weight of my people on my shoulder with every decision that I made.
I love that, man. You have to be your authentic self,
Yes.
but you do have to bear some of that to certain people, because if you know that they're consuming this kind of information
Yes.
about you culturally, whatever you want to call that, every night, so you know you're already weighted in a certain area. And they're not like, hey, I couldn't sit down at a person from Asian descent and think I truly understand their culture or what affects their culture and all this stuff. So I have to go through that. I have to learn through something. You're a human resource professional, so you kind of understand where I'm coming from, but you
Mhm.
still have to have a certain humanity, that of commonality, the human instinct about
Yeah.
certain things, but understanding what the belief systems are around the people that you're dealing with and yourself, and how that all plays out. So I commend you for what you do, because you sound like somebody like, we need to get on the couch, right?
I am a connoisseur of people, specifically Black people. I study people and I study people's stories, because to your point, a lot of organizations, they want to do this cultural sensitivity training and all of that. Well, if I were on my street that I live on today, right, there might be my family, it's a Black family. The next family might have different cultures in there. They may look Black, but they may not be African American. The next family might be something else. Each of those families has a commonality. We live on the same street. We live in the state of Maryland. But where did they grow up? So what they bring to that street is also, what the customs that they grew up in. And if you took two families, even if you took two Black families, you took one from the South and one from California, there will be some commonalities, but there's going to be a lot of differences. So
True.
that's why we have to hear and understand people's stories versus just trying to say, oh, I know who that person is. And that's why I want to be on the stage, because I can do it one to one. I can do it even in coaching, but the message on the stage, to your point, these people that are watching the news, the people that are getting these false narratives about us, they need to understand, especially if they're in decision-making positions, they need to understand what that weight is like for us, and to understand the stories that we tell ourselves, and help them to understand how they can support us when we walk into these spaces with these stories on our backs.
And we do, and because those stories, they haunt us, some of them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like we're about to go into Black History Month, history, or the history of Black history in America, unopposed to some senators from South Carolina don't want to realize there's some racial overtones in this country that were definitely institutionalized. Wasn't somebody's opinion. It
Mhm.
was there, but we are reminded of it every single month. Some of that is good, some of that is bad. It's like, well, what are we doing now is so important. And I have white friends. I have all kinds of different people, and they say, "Well, no, Grant, you're different," and that's what I don't
Mhm.
like hearing that. Like,
Wow.
oh,
So
well,
what's your
we're not talking
response
about
when
you. We're
they
talking
say
about somebody else.
"Hey, you're different"? What do you say when they say that? Tell me what you say.
What do I say?
Yeah, what do you say?
Honestly, that's a teaching moment, And I had a friend of mine say that. I said, "What do
Yeah,
you mean by that?" I'm different? Well, you're not like what you said. Well, I'm like the guy in the news you just saw last night. Unfortunately, because I would tell them like, poor people are poor people. Most of those people you see out there are socially disadvantaged
that's
people,
right. That's right.
right? I'm not at that level. So yeah, I am different from that aspect. But however, I have been in different areas of the socioeconomic level throughout my life, and then my family's life, and my family's life. So I can understand the situation. I don't want to be in that situation. Doesn't mean when I leave your house, I'm going down to a criminalized area. No, but I don't want you to think that every black person that you come across lives in some kind of criminalized area or some all those stereotypes that go along. Like every black people is like on some kind of welfare program.
Mm.
Everybody that doesn't speak well. Everybody knows looking for a job or don't have a really good job or not a job that not like your job. Is that what you're trying to say? So those narratives are the narratives that we need to like really just get rid of. You're very educated. I love what you're doing, Miss Weston. I'll call you Miss Weston, and how we interact. And me and you, just so the
Mhm.
audience know, me and you, we interact every week with people from all walks of life,
Yes, we do.
and we interact with what their business is all about, what our business is about. No one has anything about that. We all interact and we learn from each other. And I would like to see that more of the majority instead of the minority as far as experience. Me living in Miami, Florida, I've learned that.
Mhm.
Everything you just said. Just because a person may look a certain way doesn't mean they are what you perceive them to be.
That's right.
So many people walking around here. They might be light skinned, meaning light Caucasian or something like that, but they could be Cuban, they can be Jewish, they can be from Australia, they can be from New Zealand. You've got to allow that person to define themselves.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
my question I want to ask you. How do you want to be perceived professionally and personally?
Um, I want to be perceived as a Black woman because my lived experiences are as a Black woman. I tell people that I have Southern roots and Midwestern limbs. So I'm from the South. So the way that I see the world and the accent that you hear is the South. So first and foremost, I want to be perceived as a Black woman. I don't shy
Mhm.
away from that. That is who I am. But I also want to be thought of as someone who's a professional who brings um, a bit of experience and one that is very curious because I am a very, that's just who I am. And I think that's enough. Once people meet me, they can figure out who they want me to be or what they think I am. But those are the things that define who I am. Curiosity. Um, I gotta say a mother because my son, if he watches this, he says, "You didn't even say you were a mom." um, yeah. So those will be the things that are important. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, and I hear this a lot. And you probably heard it, imposter syndrome. And I want to
Oh,
define it a little bit. Meaning, can you be your authentic self in your work environment, or do you have to like assume a role that then you have to come in and out of during certain parts of the day?
oh, great. I've got to charge this right here, but I'm going to answer
Yeah.
this question because I have got to answer this question. So, I'll talk as I'm plugging this in. I don't know why I get a different charger. But so the question is, can you be your authentic self?
Yeah.
And I would say yes, but understand that there could be consequences for that.
Mm, mm.
So as a kid, I remember telling my father, people are not going to tell me who I can be and what I want and da, da, da. And he said, well, they're going to control you a little bit. And I'm like, no, people won't ever control me. He said, well, depending on how much you make, they'll control where you live. They'll control what type of car you drive. They'll control the restaurants that you can go to. And I thought, well, that is true. So there are consequences when we say we want to be ourselves and we don't want to conform. And I do believe that you do have to be your authentic self. You have to show up in an authentic way. But the challenge with that oftentimes is people are not connected to their values. So if I know what my values are, my values come out in who I am. If I espouse family and I say family is important to me, my authentic self says at 6 o'clock, I got to get out of here. I got to go to my son's football game. I'll catch you at 9 when it's over and I can get him something to eat and we can get back home. But the authentic Renika who values family, that's what I got to say. You know, if I left the company because of my values. I didn't realize it at the time, but they said that they valued creativity. That was part of their mission statement and all of this. Well, something happened and they couldn't pivot. And I kept asking them about where's our creativity? Why can't we do this? And they just couldn't. And I couldn't, to me, it was like they had lied to me. Right. And I just, at that moment, I started looking and I left that organization because of that. So my authentic self would not allow me to be a part of something that was clashing with my values. I didn't know it at the time because I don't think I knew what my values were. But I think to be your authentic self, you have to figure out what's true and what's important to you. And once you figure that out, it's like a freedom that nobody can take away. They just can't.
Do you feel that? I
I
feel Marak. I feel Marak is listening. I feel Marak need to come on camera. I want her to join this conversation because I think it's so important that our generations get an understanding, because I've heard it so much from our 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds, or I see a lot of like they either they're throwing a lot of excuses of why this didn't happen or why that didn't happen, or it was them, it wasn't me. It's a fine line of things you have to understand, but you have to be grounded, is what I heard. Grounded. And so, Barack, I want you to join this. Have you been listening?
I have been listening. Don't tempt me with a good time. As soon as I heard my name, it popped up.
I want to get your opinion. Like, I want you to chime in. How do you feel in your roles that you've been? Can you bring your authentic self to the workplace?
So, what I can say is this. I have worked in a number of different capacities in HR. I have about 11 years, almost 12 years of experience under my belt right now. And I've worked predominantly in startup organizations. And for a really long time, the answer to that question was no. I've been in experiences where I've been the first, the only, and I mean the first Black person, the first Black woman, the only Black person, the only Black woman, and having to navigate conversations and experiences, being an intersectional person, understanding that I am Black and I am also a woman. And then also doing that and having those experiences at varying levels of leadership, right? I've been at the table and still having experiences where I couldn't bring my full self to work every day. So that's kind of why I started my business, because I've come to understand from my perspective, if I'm the CEO, I show up as who I want. So that's number one. I think number two, it also means in my direct experience working with clients who work with me, you are understanding that I'm coming to you and I'm bringing a service. And that service is creating experiences for organizations where they can bring their full selves to work. And I do it unapologetically because I have my own business. So I show up as HR in my leggings. I'm wearing leggings. I got on Ugg boots. And that's just it. And while, people typically have a visual for what HR professionals look like, I'm looking to come in offering this service, breaking barriers, breaking perspectives and perceptions, because if I don't do it this way, I'm always going to fall into that gap of never really getting to be authentic. And I don't think that was fair for me. So I really try to make an impact in organizations to make sure that other people can have that, because there's nothing worse than, when you're Black in an organization, it's like you see if there are other Black people there, you're all automatically best friends. Everyone's asking if you've known each other for years. Oh, you guys have been friends for a long time. We're like, we met 2 days ago, right? So taking that into consideration, it's just been really important to me to make sure that as I'm working with these companies and these clients, that I'm visual, that people know who I am, that they know what I do, and that I do it authentically as myself. Because then if I'm doing it in a leadership position, one, it's freer for me. And then two, it all opens the door for other people to bring their full selves to work as well.
Yeah.
All right. What do you have to say? I mean, we just heard it from I'm going to say your exact age, but you're what, 30 something?
I just turned 32.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I love that. Right. And I'm not going to mention Miss Weston's.
I'm a Gen X. How about
Gen
that?
X. Gen X. He's fine as well, right? So there's generational, philosophies, experiences, but everything. But what I've heard from you, and I think I've even seen it from both of you, is the entrepreneurship. It's like I can be better running my own ship than be a part of a ship, because sometimes those ships that are there are so rocky. Like somebody, you could be working with the same group, but because now you're coming in the CEO role and you're not under their W-2 payroll, they see you differently, as opposed to the other. Would you both agree, or who wants to take that?
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. There's a different sense when it's yours.
Yeah.
And I am thankful for all of the exposure. Because if I had the opportunity to have a nonprofit, it would be called Expose Me.
Yeah.
Because I got so much like I would take things back that I would learn at work, to my friends, to my relatives, restaurants I would go to that I knew I wasn't going to go there if I was paying for it, but the company was paying for it. So there's so much exposure, training, all types of things that I got in the corporate space that I am totally grateful for. But I think just like with anything, even in a relationship, you can outgrow it. Yeah. And I think some people outgrow corporate America. I think there are other people that stay and they wait until the corporation says their expiration date. I think Morocco and I decided we were going to determine our own expiration date.
Yeah.
And either way works, whatever works for you, but know that there's probably going to be an expiration date at some point in corporate America for you.
Let's change the narrative just a little bit, because you're doing some things now. And when I heard you saying you're going into this now public speaking role, you're doing some like executive speaking, you're getting out there now. What do you got on the horizon around your speaking career?
You said, what do I have on the horizon?
Yeah, what do you got going on? What's going on?
My bucket list is to go back in the spaces where I selected those speakers, where it was pale, male, and stale.
Ooh, okay.
So when I was in biotech and pharma, every year we'd have a national sales meeting. And it was no slight to anybody selling Amway, because my parents sold it, but it was like an Amway meeting. Everybody, they get all excited. And we bring in these speakers, and many of them were rah-rah. Some of them were thought leaders, but a lot of them were rah-rah. I sat in the room. I helped to write the checks. I helped to select those people come on the stage. And in my tenure of 20 plus years, and I served on a board with a trade association, did the same thing, bringing people in. I may have seen a handful of people of color, of color in my hand, and Black. I remember one man who had been formerly incarcerated, who was now a chef, maybe an ex sports person, football, basketball, no slight to that. But my thing was, that's what I want to do. I want to get on the stage, and I don't want to rah-rah inspire people. I want people to lead transformed. I want the message to be a message that leaders and the people that they lead can hear, and they will walk away being different. They will see each other different. They will interact differently with each other. So that's how I got to it.
So, Marak, if you went to this conference that she was going to be a speaker at, how would you feel about that?
I mean, that would feel great. I've been in the seat at those conferences. I've also planned a few, and very seldomly do I get the opportunity to see someone who looks like me, right? In a professional environment, leading a conversation, a discussion, a thought, a topic to kind of rev up a team or to really transform a perspective, that doesn't happen often. Working the conference circuit and being a speaker, I've seen that there's often not a lot of us in the room. So that would make me feel incredible. I would be super hyped for that.
I think that's important. And that you're breaking down some walls out there, some glass ceilings out there. I know there are other Black female speakers, but like I said, there's not a lot. And you don't see them as visible as I would like. Especially like I work a lot in the healthcare realm. A lot of healthcare. 70% of the workers in healthcare are women.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not have a woman speaker? And of the workers, I mean, the entire population is probably 30 to 40, maybe even 50% in certain areas that are people of color, right? So representation does matter if you want to get across a message, and that's going to resonate. It's going to speak directly to the people. Because like, so you don't want to just rah-rah something like when you go walk out the door 3 days later, you don't even know what they're talking about. What's something that's actionable, something you can relate to. So I like where you're going with this. You've done a lot of different things. We got about another minute left. Leave us with some last thoughts before we part.
Oh, wow. I think the one thing that I would say is that although I've done a lot of different things, I'm no different than anyone else. I think you just have to be intentional about what you want to do. You have to think about, what do you want your legacy to be? Oftentimes we think about, what are they going to say at my funeral? What will be on my tombstone? It's like, what do you want your legacy to be? And when I lay down to rest, I want to say that I have tried it all. So the next thing is a book, right? Everybody's like, oh, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. I'm like, it's enough books on the shelf. And I think her name is Lovey Jones. I was at a conference at the Executive Leadership Council. And she said, she gave a percentage of the number of authors that are white males. And one of the things that I thought about is there are rarely any business books written by women. Brene Brown, EQI, I can't think of the woman's name now because time, is on my, I'm like, but there's probably 3 or 4 books, business books that people refer to that are written by women. Black women, nothing out there. Nothing out there that makes the top list for Black women. And so I am in the lab right now. I love fables. And so I would love to write a fable. When you think about 5 dysfunctions of a team, it's a fable. There are a lot of fables that are out there, the business books. So because I love fables, I love to tell stories. I'm in the lab trying to figure that out too.
Awesome. Before we leave you, I'm sure Mark is going to ask you this. How do we get in touch with you?
Yep. That's my
well, you can just go to my website. It is www.yournextthought, NEXT thought. So wouldn't you think that's it? So it's yournextthought.com, or you can look me up on LinkedIn. I don't think there are a lot of Renika Westons. It's RANIEKA WESTON. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining. This conversation was exciting. I was in the background bouncing around. And thank you for inviting me back to talk. I really appreciate you for sharing all of your insights. It was great. I've connected with you on LinkedIn. And with that said, genius is common, and I'll see you both on the other side.
All right. Have a great evening. Good night.
Good night.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K-12 entrepreneurs. The Expo is a fundraiser for students. You may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund, or use the Cash App floating on the screen, $BBXUSA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online if interested at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts, so we want to remind you to donate to the scholarship fund. We also want to thank our Black Business Expo USA sponsors for January of 2024. They are NC100, Moody Capital Partners, Suede Soul, Lotus Frichet Coaching and Training, The Hello LLC, 5-Star BDM Media, Carolina, Virginia Minority Supplier Development Council, Step Management, BHS and Associates, Marjorie McLean Foundation Incorporated, Genius is Common, Earth Essentials, Mullane Shania Global, Executive Women's Success Institute, The Quality Coaching Company, Superwoman Business Services, Creative Force Studios, Lee Entertainment, Artistic App Design, Black Business Expo USA, Genius is Common, and I will see you on the other side.
Dr. Eric Kelly III and a host of phenomenal speakers from all around the globe for this 7-day virtual event that you don't want to miss.
The mission of the Black Business Expo is to raise scholarship money from kids all the way from high school all the way from college. The Black Business Olympics is one of the largest Black business showcases in the world. It is an opportunity for businesses and companies to showcase their businesses globally. We are going to be giving away laptops up to $5,000 away to students. Again, I'm Olivia Appleberry, the founder of 2 Cents Finance and one of the speakers for the expo. I am so excited to see you there. For more info, go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090 and hope to see you there.
I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep. Yes, I am Black business. I am Black business. Tell me, are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? Listen, I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black business in the world. The world. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090. I am Black business.
I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black America in North Carolina. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-380-9090. I am Black business. I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black America in North Carolina. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-380-9090. I am Black business. I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black America in North Carolina. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-380-9090. I am Black business. I am Black business.
I'd like you to imagine with me, if you will, opening an app where you can collaborate with like-minded individuals from around the world, get inspiration and in-app tools to launch and grow your business, as well as share your knowledge and earn compensation, all in one app. Well, the name of that app is Truso, short for Truly Social. Hi, I'm Matthew Newman, the founder and CEO of Truso, a new concept in social media. Truso is designed from the ground up to be a platform that's both social and empowering for all its users. How exactly do we do that? I'm glad you asked. First, Truso brings the world together via video. Psychologists assert that video provides a significantly more effective connection than audio only. When you enter a community on Truso, you're face to face. Second, on Truso, you don't have to have 1 million followers to monetize. Our business model allows all hosts and moderators to monetize, no matter the size of your following, by 1, producing fee-based content, and 2, inviting others to join the platform as subscribers. Even more, Truso has an in-app resource library with over 100 free resources, forms, and documents to help you build your brand and grow your business. Third, Truso is inclusive. The deaf and hard of hearing communities make up 360 million people worldwide. Unlike audio-only apps, Truso embraces this community, providing a networking platform that allows them to participate via video and closed captioning. We even have a deaf and hard of hearing foundation in the works as well. Fourth, Truso is both social and safe. We refer to Truso as a virtual extension of the beauty shop, barbershop, and brainchild of the community. A place where there's laughter, along with wisdom, growth-oriented conversation, and genuine connections in a safe space. Truso even has proprietary security to ensure we maintain a safe environment for everyone. Where are we at now? Truso is live, y'all. We've launched in beta, and we're acquiring users daily. We have an incredible development and marketing team, plus amazing celebrity influencers at the table, helping us spread the word around the globe, beginning within the African diaspora and beyond by creating a safe space for growth, connection, and collaboration. We're truly excited about Truso. We've created something special for which there is a global market. And we invite you to embark on this journey with us as a shareholder. The future for Truso is truly bright. Join us and let's go there together.
Attention all entrepreneurs and companies. Are you looking for reliable and efficient virtual assistants and back office support to help you manage your business tasks? Look no further than Superwoman Business Services. Our team of virtual assistants provides a full range of administrative support services, including operations management, social media marketing, and much more. We also offer website design services to help you create a professional online presence that reflects your unique brand. In addition to administrative support and website design, we offer business development and structuring services to help you grow your business and achieve your goals. We'll work closely with you to identify areas of improvement and develop a customized plan to help you reach your full potential. At Superwoman Business Services, we understand that running a business can be overwhelming and time-consuming. That's why we're here to help you fly high and achieve success. Our virtual assistants are highly skilled, experienced, and dedicated to providing you with the support you need to thrive. Come fly with us and take your business to new heights. Let us help you become the superhero entrepreneur you are meant to be. Contact Superwoman Business Services today to learn more about our back office support services. Come fly with us and take your business to new heights.
Hello, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, President and CEO of the Executive Women's Success Institute. And my genius is helping women accelerate the path to success. You know, I was blessed to have strong women in my life who encouraged, motivated, and pushed me to do my best and to never even think about giving up on my dreams. So I say to women, we must show up to rise up. We have talents and potential, but who will see them if we don't speak up and get noticed? I know that women are a tremendous resource on this planet, and there is nothing more fulfilling than helping a woman tap into her full potential. I do this because I want to be a part of helping as many women as I can to show up, to rise up. I do this because genius is common.
Art to me is a creative expression of something from nothing. You know, it explodes onto the canvas, or it explodes on in my work. One of the things that I try to do more than anything is I try to just give the lines and the movements and emotions and the expressions into to what I do. Art really means to me a chance to express how I feel deep down inside. Most of my art begins as a thought that I might have, you know, whether it's sports, whether it's history, whether it's a woman or a man. It pretty much starts as an idea of thought before I get into the actual image of what I'm going to draw. I do a lot of historical pieces. I was a history minor in college, and I love to do history pieces. And a lot of times I'm thinking about history, and then I try to make that history impact you as you look at it. That's one of the reasons I do pictures so large. People ask me, why do I do the pictures so big? And I tell them, I want the piece to impact them as they're looking at it. To kind of dominate them, dominate their space. And most of my pieces I try to do off page. I don't try to do anything that's going to be in those four corners or in a square. And I want your imagination to be a part of the piece that you're looking at.
The Black Business Expo is changing my life. This year, they are giving away laptops and even $5,000 in cash to students just like me. I'm Alexis, and I want to go to college to fulfill my dream of becoming an entrepreneur. Help the Black Business Expo going to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com and also becoming a vendor, a sponsor, or donating.
Ignite your life and seize the new year by effectively planning it with your 2024 Ignite and Take Flight Planner. It's time to navigate your success with strategic project management. Win with inspiring quotes from inspirational people that will guide you to the success you deserve. And don't forget to track your dollars, habits, empowering notes, and connect with dynamic brands. It's never too late to start planning your success. Get your copy now.
How you doing? I'm Rodney Allen Rippey. Yeah, the child actor. Well, now, leading man. Some of you might remember back in the day, the Harlem Globetrotters popcorn machine. Remember that? Well, it was a Saturday morning special that would come on, and I was there with Geese and Tex and Meadowlark Lemon. Remember the show? Well, I had a great time. And I have to say a huge, huge thank you to all my fans out there. Thank you for all the years of support. I went on from the entertainment industry. I started getting into producing and directing. And now, hey, here I am. I'm a studio executive here in Burbank, California at 2526 Studios. I have to say, it's been pretty good, but the best is yet to come. Please stay encouraged. Keep reaching for your dreams and never forget that genius is common. Remember that. Genius is common. No matter what anyone says to you, no matter how tough the road may get, keep striving. Keep reaching for your dreams. And always know that you are worth it. Everything that you put into yourself, everything good that you pour into your life, you are worth it. And when the times get tough, when things don't go exactly right, it's okay. Dust your shoulders off. Stand up strong. And remember, genius is common.
I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep. Yes, I am Black business. I am Black business. Tell me, are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? Listen, I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black business in the world. The world! Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090. I am Black business.
Good evening, business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and corporations. Welcome to the Black Business Network. My name is Marak Hicks, and I am the founder and CEO at Miracle Recruiting. I am your business moderator for this evening on the Black Business Network. The Black Business Network is a 24-hour business network showcasing Black businesses, business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders worldwide. We have speakers from North Carolina, London, Singapore, Africa, Japan, and cities all over the United States. The Black Business Network is a global community sharing its business knowledge to empower, inspire, and educate businesses about business. Our next speaker is Jean Baker. Jean is the Director of Corporate Affairs for Art and Kingsley Agency, co-host of the Keynote podcast, and past host of Jean's Tune-Up Time, the ultimate discussion about leadership. An accomplished and seasoned sales leader, Jean has a wealth of experience with over 22 years in sales, 20 of which were in sales leadership positions. He is also an accomplished coach and leadership facilitator with an award-winning background in sales training. He is a certified partner with the Management Research Group, the Global Speakers Platform, and the John Maxwell team, and is available to consult with individuals, corporations, and nonprofits. He holds numerous professional certifications in emotional intelligence and leadership behavior analysis, including DISC, LEA 360, IDI, and Discovery Insights. He's also a certified facilitator and DEI courses. Based on his experiences, leadership behaviors, and training certification, Jean brings a unique understanding and approach born out of leading, coaching, and developing many teams and individuals through significant organizational change while keeping a strong focus on driving high levels of performance, employee engagement, and positive culture. His training background has provided him valuable experience in Salesforce expansion, curriculum development, training, workshop development, learning behaviors, and workshop facilitation. Jean is known for having an immense passion for bringing the best out of people and helping organizations achieve high results through leadership and excellence. I now present to you, Jean Baker. Hey, Jean, how's it going?
Hey, well, thank you for that. It's going great.
Of course. All righty, well, I will leave it to you. Genius is coming, and I'll see you on the other side.
Absolutely. Well, good evening and congratulations to all of you who are here right now. Some of you may have been on the platform for morning, noon, and now this evening session, and you have heard some amazing speakers. And I'm so honored, I believe, to kind of close this down for this evening. And what we're talking about, what I'm going to talk about, and I wish I could have a conversation with each and every one of you, but what we're going to talk about is leadership. Why leadership? Because leadership matters. Just think about when you've been in a situation and you had a terrible leader. What were you thinking of doing that whole time? Probably leaving, right? That happened. It is happening. Everyone's heard of the Great Resignation. It wasn't just for leadership, but people were leaving the corporate world in droves. But leadership matters in keeping people and attracting people to your organization. That's why it's so exciting to me to talk about leadership and really help leaders be the best that they can be. Too often people are put into leadership positions and don't have any experience and any knowledge of how to really lead. Maybe they were talented. They probably were talented in what they were doing, which is why they got promoted in the first place. But they haven't then gotten training and skills in how to be the best leader. And that is a huge gap in a lot of organizations. So what we're going to do is kind of break this down a little bit and talk about not just what is leadership, but the impact of leadership, and then what we can do, what you can do to improve your leadership capabilities. So let's talk about leadership a little bit. As it relates to employee turnover. What's the turnover? Just last year, the average tenure of an employee was 4.1 years. So workers aged 55 to 64 had an average tenure of 9.9 years. Workers aged 25 to 35 had an average tenure of only 2.8 years. Let me say that again. Workers aged 25 to 34 had an average tenure of only 2.8 years. We're going to talk about that. Moreover, men had longer average tenure than women at 4.3 years versus 3.9 years. So the shorter tenure for younger workers is really a threat that's not just today, but it's going to be a threat for years to come, because that generation X is now not the largest generation in the workforce. Millennials are the largest population in the workforce. Who are millennials? For those who need a refresher on it, millennials are aged 27 to 42. So Generation X is 44 to 59. So millennials are leaving, or at a large rate, they only have an average tenure of 2.8. That has massive implications to your organizations. Maybe you have your own organization. Maybe you're working for an organization, you're a leader there. You need to understand what are the needs of your millennial sales force or workforce, and what are your needs of your overall sales workforce, right? All right, so what's the cost? I mean, why should you think about that? Yeah, people are going to leave, but you might say, well, so what? Well, the cost can range anywhere from 1/2 to 4 times employee annual salary. 1/2 to 4 times the annual employee salary. So as an example, let's say an employee makes $60,000. So that could be upwards of $180,000 to fill. So what is that cost made up of? Is 30 to 40% is hard cost, with 60% being soft costs. Another example is a 100-person company with an average salary of $50,000 could have turnover costs over $2 million a year. Have I gotten your attention? So not only does leadership matter just in general, but leadership has a cost, especially great leadership has a positive cost. Bad leadership has a significant negative cost just in employee turnover, not counting so many other areas. So what are the top challenges that are facing leadership in today's world? Well, one is recruiting new talent. We all heard about the Great Resignation. That's why 1 in 4 workers were leaving, if not higher. So how do you recruit new talent to your organization? Improving the workforce environment is another significant challenge right now in leadership. Improving workforce environment to retain your employees. You got to look at what you have going right now. Why do people want to come? Why would people want to come into the office? You got to think of really creative ways in which to do that. There's challenges of remote working. It's great that people can work from remote. Myself, I've been working remote basically my entire adult life, so I'm used to it. A lot of people aren't used to it, but what people will find is when you work remotely from home, work is always there, and so there's benefits to that, and there's challenges to that. There's a self-assessment for improving leadership skills. We need to understand, how do we assess our skills? That's why I have those certifications to help organizations really assess their leadership capabilities in an organized manner, and then decide what leadership behaviors are most needed to move their organization in the right way. So understanding how to do that is really critical. Developing a high trust level with your employees. I don't care what organization you're in. If you want to keep your employees got to trust you. They got to trust your leaders. So your first line leaders are so valuable to your organization. They are your heartbeat. You really have to understand, do they have a strong understanding of their personnel? Do they have a strong connection? Do they have a strong influence level over their employees that can develop a long sense of trust and a deep sense of trust? Teamwork management for creating success. Teamwork is so important. When people collaborate more, when they communicate more, productivity skyrockets. But people have to feel welcome. They have to feel wanted. They have to feel that they're valued. They have to feel that the organization cares for them. So all that goes into creating strong teamwork. So you have to really think about, how are my teams collaborating and communicating with each other, whether it's remote or live, or a combination of two. And then lastly is evaluating potential performance. Evaluating potential and performance, I should say. So you really have to understand what is the potential of your current workforce, and which means that everyone needs to have individual development plans. You need to identify your top level employee. What are you doing with your top talent? Do they all have development plans? And are conversations happening on a regular basis for not just evaluating that, but making sure that your top talent is being developed? And not just top talent, it's really, quite honestly, everyone. And then also having a fair performance, a way to measure performance. So those are kind of the top challenges that are facing companies in America today. So let's dig a little bit deeper into those areas. So as you're recruiting for jobs, we understand that people left in droves in the Great Resignation. Now they're coming back. But here's what's happening. Now you got individuals like those millennials. They're moving from company to company. They're not staying around as much. So leadership really can impact that a lot. So you really have to think about, okay, I'm recruiting talent, but why would they come? And then why would they stay? You really have to define that. The more you can define that, the more you can speak to that, the more you can ensure that all the things that you speak to are actually happening. So improving workplace and environment for talent retention. That's, as we think about some of the figures involved with that, we know that in America workers specifically, 61% just last year were contemplating leaving their jobs. 61% contemplating leaving. So you really have to have your finger on that pulse. Is your corporate culture and environment an environment that's nurturing, that values everyone, that's challenging, that's rewarding? All of those things you have to identify and then say, okay, well, why is this organization that way? Describe your organization and understand what exactly is making that organization that way, and where are your weak spots, and make sure that you're getting feedback from your employees and developing plans around shoring up those weak spots, or you will not retain your new talent. Challenges of remote working. I spoke to that a little bit earlier. Remote working is great, but as we found out, is people can work from home and they either are not working or they're working ridiculous hours. So there's got to be a happy medium there, but there's also some flexibility. Working from home, I might get up at 5 a.m. because I like to get up at 5 a.m. and I do some of my best hours from 5 to 8 a.m. Well, that's not a 9 to 5 job, but maybe at 11 o'clock, I might go down in my basement and do a half-hour workout. Okay, as long as people are getting the work done, there's got to be some flexibility. There should be some flexibility in how we manage the time from home. Maybe a parent needs to go to a soccer game. Okay, they can put the time in other ways, in other hours of the day. So working remotely is something that we're still grappling with, but certainly strategies need to be put in place. Self-assessment for improving leadership skills. What does that mean? Well, how do you leaders understand, are they meeting or exceeding expectations? How are your leaders getting developed? What are they developing? What skill sets have you identified for your organization that are important for the long-term success of your organization? You got to identify those things and then have your leaders align to those things and self-assess and have a 360 assessment around those leadership behaviors. Tools like the LEA 360 are great tools of behavior analysis for any organization. Developing high levels of trust with employees. I mentioned that earlier. I think it goes to say, that is just something that, it just doesn't just happen. You got to be really intentional about understanding what it is that you're doing that would or would not engender trust within your employees across your organization. It's not just what you say, it's what you do. It's not just what you do, it's just how consistently you do that. When you're consistent and you're intentional in those actions, now people can start to trust you because there's a history and an expectation based off of that history. Teamwork management for creating success. Look at how your teams interact with each other. Pay attention to it. Have your finger on that pulse. What's the energy level in your teams? Is a lot of infighting? Is there a lot of distrust? Is there collaboration? Is there a lot of collaboration? Are ideas being presented? Are people thinking outside the box? Or are people waiting to be told what to do? You really think and analyze really closely how your teams interact. You want your teams to be strong, cohesive units where people are comfortable, where everyone is participating, where everyone is valued, where everyone shows up and wants to show up and interact. Because when that happens, all the walls start to come down and people collaborate with each other more. When people collaborate, then ideas start flowing. An organization without new ideas is an organization that is dead on the vine. So you got to have a big sense of collaboration. Your teams have to be functioning at a very high level. That's your responsibility as a leader to make sure that happens. All right. So then lastly, just evaluating potential and performance. It goes without saying, how are you evaluating performance? How often are you evaluating performance? So make sure that this, at certain points during the year, I still hear from various organizations and people in those organizations that, they'd be lucky to have one conversation on performance, at the end of the year. That is not the way to do it. Make sure that your leaders are having performance conversations at least quarterly, check-ins with their employees. Make sure that that is happening and make sure people understand what it is that they're supposed to accomplish, what does it look like to meet expectations? And that should be a high bar to meet expectations, but not ridiculously high. So think about all these things. What does it mean to exceed? What does it mean to be outstanding, exceptional, the example of your organization? Make sure all of those things, those behaviors are outlined, in as clear as you can get, so people have a roadmap to, okay, this is what performance looks like. All right. So one of the things that I talk about often with organizations, and I did as a leader, is values, in leading with values. Why is that so important? When we think about values, we know that corporate values define and describe the corporation, right? They define and describe the corporation, and they influence the culture of that organization, right? So personal values define and describe us as individuals, and our personal values influence our behavior. So what do you think what happens when corporate values and personal values don't necessarily align? When they're not in line, people are uneasy. They feel that unease. There's discontent. People are unhappy. The morale drops. And when the morale drops, there's high turnover. So it's very important to understand what your corporate values are and how those align to your employees and to the customer base that you serve. When values are aligned, when corporate values are aligned with personal values, then the contentment goes up. Everyone feels good. There's a higher morale, there's low turnover, and there's higher productivity. And it's scientific, the data is there. Values, when the values align, productivity is much higher. So it makes sense to lead with values. What you have to do is understand, okay, well, what are those values? What do we stand for? So certainly there's corporate values. What I try to do as a leader is have my own values across my team that were aligned to a corporation and then some. All right. So I'll give you these values. You can do with them what you may. I'm not going to get deep into them. This is a whole nother talk, but I wanted to give you something that you can kind of noodle on and think about as you move forward from this evening. These values that I talk about with my team, when I talk about these values with my team, we go over each one of those. And I go around the room, and from time to time, I have people say, well, what does this value mean to them? And how do they exhibit this value? So I want to make sure it's not just me telling them the value, but it becomes the fabric of everyone on that team. It's who we are. Because remember, values influence behavior. All right, so one is, do we value people? Sounds simple, but no, we value everyone in the room. We value you as a person. We show you love as a person. You know, so important that everyone that shows up on your team feels that they are valued for who they are. You may not like everyone, but you got to value everyone on your team, right? We got to live intentionally. You know, what that means is it's so easy to go downhill, just because when you're downhill, you're just going to go, right? Regardless, your momentum's going to carry you downhill. When you go uphill, you got to put in effort every day. When we talk about creating momentum, we talk about, you know, intentionally being consistent in certain behaviors. When you do that, you then start to create some momentum, and momentum is a huge part that goes into your favor. But we got to live intentionally, be in the moment, understand what's happening around you, understand what's happening on your team, understand what is happening in the individuals on your team. So critically important. Don't lead from up here and have no idea what's going on individually with your people or the teams that you're leading. Exceed expectations. That is a value. We should all want to exceed expectations. The world is run by a very small segment of people that exceed expectations. Be part of that. Don't be the bottom 80%. Top 5% lead this world. We want to be in the habit of exceeding expectations of each other, of our leaders, and of our customers. Grow daily. Have a growth mindset. There's a whole conversation we can have on a growth mindset. So critically important. Grow 1% a day is a good mantra to go by. Choose a positive attitude. Every day that we roll out of bed, it's a choice that we make. It's a choice. Am I going to have a positive attitude or a negative attitude? Choose to have a positive attitude. Choose to deal with whatever's going to come your way with a positive attitude. Positive attracts positive. Negative attracts negative. There is so much negativity in the world that is so hard to break through that. So be very intentional with the attitude that you choose. Be consistent in everything that you do. That helps to build trust. When you're inconsistent in your actions and your follow-up, people stop trusting you. When you lose trust as a leader, you lose influence. When you lose influence, you've lost it all. Equip others as a leader. Equip others. That is a mindset. Now, this you may think is just a leadership. So why would I be presenting this to a team? Well, on my team, I want everyone to think of themselves as a leader. So as leaders, we want to equip others. We want to share, knowledge. We want to develop others around us. So critical as we talk about, hiring and attracting talent. Well, sometimes we have great talent on our teams that could be cross-trained. So we want to equip others and we want to develop leaders within our own teams. We want to lead by example. That goes along with that. Everything we do, show up, show it, do it. Don't be that leader that's like the travel agent. I'll tell you where to go, and then I'll wave goodbye to you. No. Lead by example. Get down in the pits, get down in the trenches sometimes with your people. Show them that you're there with them. Be a catalyst for change. Don't complain. Don't be that person that complains. Certainly don't be that leader that complains about how things are. Don't be that leader. Because if you're complaining, guess what everybody on your team is going to do? They got a green light to complain about everything that's being done. Be a catalyst for change. I want everybody on my team to think about what can I do? Because everything's not going to be hunky-dory. Everything's not going to be great all the time. What can I do to be a catalyst for the change that we need to happen across the organization? Bring me solutions. And then lastly, leave room for faith and/or reflection. Everyone's not religious, but I think it's really important that we at least leave time for ourselves every day to take a step back and reflect on the day, reflect on what we want to have happen during the day, be thankful for what we do have, just leave room to connect with your inner self and connect with a higher being if you are a person of faith. So if this not, that last part is we don't need everyone to be religious. We don't even want to go down that road, but we do want people to leave time for a healthy spiritual being. All right. So I just gave you 10 values that are critically important in any organization. You may not choose all 10, but I'm telling you, this is a powerful exercise that I do with my teams multiple times a year to reconnect with these values and make sure that this is how we are living our lives. All right. So when we think about outside of values, what about me as a leader? What can you do as a leader? There's so many things that you can do as a leader, but I thought a great resource that I would talk about tonight is from one of my mentors, and I'm also a certified John Maxwell trainer and coach. One of John Maxwell's books is The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It is an amazing book. There's so many great nuggets in there. We don't have time. We're not going to go through 21 laws, but I did want to point out maybe 5 laws for you that I think are really critical for you as a leader that you could focus in on starting this evening. The first law is the law of the lid. Maxwell said the leadership ability is the lid that determines a person's level of effectiveness. Leadership ability is the lid that determines a person's level of effectiveness. So if, let's say, you're measuring leadership in from 1 to 10, the lower your ability to lead, the lower the lid on your potential. So not just your potential, but then also potential of those under you. Because if your leadership lid is a 7 per se, then it's going to be really hard for you to lead those that have greater ability, 8, 9, 10. You may be able to influence and lead those under you, your ability, but it's going to be really hard for you to lead those above. Now, if you're a new leader, never been trained in leaders, don't really focus on improving your leadership skills, then you really have an issue, because now you may have some great leadership across your team, but you're not capable of truly leading those. So you got to really understand what is your lid as a leader and take the steps consistently and effectively to move your leadership ability forward. There's a story about analogy of the flea. Ever heard anything about the flea? Fleas are incredible beings. They're so small, but they can jump like incredibly high compared to their stature. So, a flea can jump 2 to 3 feet, right? So they have great leaping ability, and they have that ability so they can latch on to the animals that cross around, where they lay in the grass, right? But what happens if you put a flea in a jar? Put a lid on that jar, right? So here's a flea that has ability up here, but the jar lid is here. What happens is then they get used to jumping just high enough so they don't hit their head on the lid. If you put another flea in there and they start having flea babies, all those babies, then that's their lid. And they don't increase their potential. They don't increase their ability. They don't even know that they have more ability. So really important to recognize that you're not putting self-inflicted lids, or that if there is a lid, that you work everything, you do everything you can to bust out and increase, because that law says there is flexibility there. It doesn't matter if you're a 6 in leadership ability now, you can grow that ability. So make sure that you understand that law of the lid. Don't put that lid on you. Don't put that lid on your leaders across your organization. Make sure that lid gets screwed off from time to time and people are expanding their leadership capabilities. All right, the law of influence. It's actually the second law in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And this is the true measure of leadership is influence. John Maxwell says that influence, the measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Well, how do you influence if you don't know those on your team? When I teach inclusive leadership, one of the exercises we go about is we say, okay, name everybody on your team. And then you start to list things you know about those people. What are their skills? What are their desires? What are their fears? What is this, that, whatever? So you go through this exercise and then you say, well, how do you know that? Are you making assumptions? Or have you actually had a conversation with that person to better understand who they are as a person? So important as a leader to take the time to get to know who is on your team and get to know them as the person that they are. Because once that happens, now people are more willing to be influenced and to follow you. What you don't want to have happen when you look at a leader and they may think that they're a great leader, but they have nobody following them. All they're doing is they're just going on a walk. You know, they have no followers. They're just going on a walk. So what you want to make sure is that as a leader, you have influence, and you can recognize that in yourself or in the leaders on your team by who is following them. Number 3 is the law of process. Process is so critically important. Maxwell says leadership develops daily, not in a day. You know, what can you see when you look at a person's daily agenda? Priorities, passion, abilities, relationships, attitude, personal disciplines, vision, and influence. When you look at someone's their daily agenda, you can find out a lot about their process. When you're measuring performance, how are you measuring performance? Is it just, hey, we need to hit this number? Well, that's great. You know, we can all align it. We need to hit that number. But exactly what are the behaviors that are going to lead to you hitting that number? What we could call that in our world is lead and lag behaviors. The lead is the behaviors that will lead to the lag result. You know, the sales number, whatever the result that you're looking for. All right. So what are those lead behaviors, you know, that you can measure? Maybe it's number of calls. Maybe it's whatever it is in your line of work. What are those 3 core things that you do consistently and do great every day that will lead to that lag result, that goal? And have a process for measuring and then evaluating those lead behaviors and following up to see if the lag measurement or goal result aligns to what you're seeing in lead behaviors. If it's not, over time, now you got to say, okay, well, maybe we're focused on the wrong things. But what I'm getting at here is the process. What is your process for daily success, quarterly success, and yearly success? Have to have a process in place. Then I'm going to jump to law number 11, the law of the inner circle. Did you know that you are you basically the sum total of the people, the 5 closest people to you? So as a leader, you have to understand, you know, you can't always be, and you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. If you're always the smartest person in the room, then you got people that are just going to, you know, just feed into, you know, they're just going to be that yes person. So understand, get people around you that are smarter, that have different skill sets, different perspectives, that are going to elevate you. And as they elevate you, now you can then better elevate those that you're leading. Right? And I'm going to give you one last one, and that's the law of explosive growth. That's actually law number 20. So important here because it really gets to what we're talking about here from a leadership standpoint. You know, it's one thing to, you know, lead people in your organization, right? That's going, you know, and you're going to focus probably on your top 20%. You never want to focus on the bottom 20% of your organization. You're going to spend a lot of time there. and you're not gonna get the return. You want to spend a lot of time in your top 20% because you'll get more from that. But if you want explosive growth, spend the time developing and getting skill sets in your leaders, because then your leaders will then develop leaders on their teams. The more leaders you have across your organization, that then translates to explosive growth in your organization. So you spend the time with your leaders. Don't skimp on budget on developing the leaders, and then have your leaders develop leaders within their teams. When you develop leaders versus good employees, you're getting somewhere. You're getting that explosive growth. And isn't that what we all want? All right. So I think I've come up to my time. Hopefully you've got some out of that just in terms of understanding the impact of leadership, and then understanding the value of leading with values, and then the 5 things we talked about from the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership from John Maxwell. So I'll leave that with you. Be great, be exceptional, and be great persons of influence.
Gene, thank you so much for sharing your insights this evening. Before we let you go, just wanted to check in. Where can people find you if they want to work with you, if they want to have you come speak? Where are the best places for people to find you?
You can find me all over. I am on LinkedIn. You can find me on basically all social media. You can also email me at bakergene, that's GENE 91 at gmail.com. And so, yeah, you can find me. LinkedIn is a great place to find me, but you can also email me and we can connect. I'd love to talk to you about leadership. I'd love to talk to you about DE&I. I'd love to talk to you about even individual coaching. If you're an executive or if you're looking to be promoted, that's a great time to really examine where you are and where you want to go. And I can help you with that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gene. Really appreciate it. You have a great evening. Genius is common. I'll see you on the other side.
On the other side.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or its K-12 entrepreneurs. The Expo is a fundraiser for students. You may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or visit the Cash App that's on the screen below for $BBXUSA to donate to the scholarship fund. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts, so we want to make sure and remind you to donate to the scholarship fund. We also want to thank our Black Business Expo USA sponsors for January of 2024. They are NC100, Moody Capital Partners, Suede Soul, Lotus Rocher Coaching and Training, The Hello LLC, 5-Star BDM Media, Carolina Virginia Minority Supplier Development Council, Step Management, BHS and Associates, Marjorie McLean Foundation Incorporated, Genius is Common, Earth Essentials, Malaine Chennai Global, Executive Women's Success Institute, The Quality Coaching Company, Superwomen Business Services, Creative Force Studios, Lee Entertainment, Artistic App Design, Black Business Expo USA, Genius is Common, and I'll see you on the other side.
The Black Business Network and Black Business Olympics are essential platforms for Black business owners globally. They provide the tools and support you need to succeed in today's competitive marketplace. Join us today as we collaborate together with businesses from around the world to support our children, students, and young future entrepreneurs, Black businesses and corporations. We raise funds for students going to college and young entrepreneurs who are aspiring to be business owners, and we invite you to be a contributor today. Visit the website www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to connect with and learn more about how the Black Business Network and Black Business Olympics can help you not only share your amazing business story to businesses, but also serve future generations. Hello, my name is David Jones, CEO and co-founder of the Hello LLC, where we help businesses build a culture, brand and experience, and leverage technology to pivot into Web3. Join the Black Business Network streaming live into Roku, Metaverse, STEM City, Black Multiverse Enterprises, Hulu, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple, Facebook, LinkedIn, Spotify, Twitch, and Google Podcasts. Tune in, turn on, and let's thrive.
I'd like you to imagine with me, if you will, opening an app where you can collaborate with like-minded individuals from around the world, get inspiration and in-app tools to launch and grow your business, as well as share your knowledge and earn compensation, all in one app. Well, the name of that app is Truso, short for Truly Social. Hi, I'm Matthew Newman, the founder and CEO of Truso. A new concept in social media, Truso is designed from the ground up to be a platform that's both social and empowering for all its users. How exactly do we do that? I'm glad you asked. First, Truso brings the world together via video. Psychologists assert that video provides a significantly more effective connection than audio only. When you enter a community on Truso, you're face to face. Second, on Truso, you don't have to have 1 million followers to monetize. Our business model allows all hosts and moderators to monetize, no matter the size of your following, by 1, producing fee-based content, and 2, inviting others to join the platform as subscribers. Even more, Truso has an in-app resource library with over 100 free resources, forms, and documents to help you build your brand and grow your business. Third, Truso is inclusive. The deaf and hard of hearing communities make up 360 million people worldwide. Unlike audio-only apps, Truso embraces this community, providing a networking platform that allows them to participate via video and closed captioning. We even have a deaf and hard of hearing foundation in the works as well. Fourth, Truso is both social and safe. We refer to Truso as a virtual extension of the beauty shop, barbershop, and brainchild of the community. A place where there's laughter, along with wisdom, growth-oriented conversation, and genuine connections in a safe space. Truso even has proprietary security to ensure we maintain a safe environment for everyone. Where are we at now? Truso is live, y'all. We've launched in beta, and we're acquiring users daily. We have an incredible development and marketing team, plus amazing celebrity influencers at the table, helping us spread the word around the globe, beginning within the African diaspora and beyond by creating a safe space for growth, connection, and collaboration. We're truly excited about Truso. We've created something special for which there is a global market. And we invite you to embark on this journey with us as a shareholder. The future for Truso is truly bright. Join us and let's go there together.
I am from Washington, D.C., but I was raised in Durham, North Carolina. I came to Durham when I was about 5 or 6, and then I traveled back and forth to D.C. because it's where my people are from. One of the unique things about my family is my mother, she's also an artist. She does quilting, and she does a lot of artistic things. And then my son, he draws with both hands, his right hand and his left hand like I do. So that's kind of a family trait. And then my other son, he's a videographer, and my daughter, she works, she's a regional vice president for Sunglass Lab. When you start out drawing and sketching, you want to continue to explore, you know, each avenue. I do pastels, I do pen and ink, I do painting, I do acrylics. I haven't done oils yet. But I try to do all facets of art. What I say to a lot of times to people is, you know, you can't put yourself in a box when you're an artist. You have to explore. And over the course of my life, I've tried to explore different mediums. I also do sculpture as well. I choose my subjects by the intensity that they have in their faces, or the intensity that somebody is moving, because I do more than portrait drawings. I also do I do abstract, and then I do figurative drawing also. Well, what happened in this particular show is that I started out trying to come up with something that would be a little bit different than what everybody else is doing. So I was working on a Barack Obama show, and they wanted me to do some paintings of Baroque. And so what I did was, because of the deadlines, I kind of did it kind of fast. And then I realized when I was doing it fast, I enjoyed it. And so then I started doing other pieces the same way, and I started to enjoy those pieces also. And so I came up with this particular style, and it's a style of lines and colors,